Good morning, everybody. Happy July 3rd. Today I'm doing my Facebook Live at Dana Point Harbor. I'm on the bluff above the harbor. You can see the boat docks and the harbor behind me. It's a beautiful place. I started my day up in Crystal Cove. Did a walk and talk with Dave Savage. I dig hanging out with Dave. It's been great. And so now I'm here at Dana Point to have breakfast with my good friend Bill Rogers. I see that we have gestures here. We got to get rid of those. But I'm here to have breakfast with Bill Rogers. We love to do chalkboard industry talks. Really looking forward to that. But I want to come to you. As I thought about doing my live sessions every day, and I wondered what the impact would be doing them around the 4th of July holiday. I know more people might check in. You might have more time to check it out. So I'm going to try to bring my best content every day. But today, I'm going to be less hardcore news and more just kind of opinions. So I'm going to riff a little bit today. It's not going to be quoting articles and data and statistics. And so I labeled this live, I Love Loan Officers. And let me just say, I'm fully invested and subscribed to the American dream of home ownership, and that home ownership is the path to wealth. It's the path to security. It's a path to better quality of life. And I see loan officers being the Sherpas that help people achieve that. They're instrumental. And I see lenders, being the vehicle that, people use to achieve that. And then loan officers are the Sherpa. And I think it's such a noble thing. And I love loan officers. I have such high esteem for them. I'm proud to be one, or be in that group. For me, I got started in real estate, when I think I bought my first house when I was 24, 25. Bought my second house a year later. I was so into it. At the time I was a general contractor. I started doing home renovations, and then from that I tried and failed at flipping. This is in the early 90s. And somewhat didn't fail, but didn't really take off. And then about 10 years later, I got into the profession as a loan officer, and quickly thereafter, I became a branch manager, and then I ascended up the sales leadership ranks. And it's always been around. Whatever I was doing is helping people achieve that American dream. And I think back, my parents bought their first house in 1966 when I was just a few months old, dating myself. But they bought an $18,000 house using a VA loan. And that house is worth $1 million today. They still own it. My mom still owns it. And that's been an incredible wealth generator for them. And I want to, it's just in my DNA to help everybody with that. So, and I want to say this because sometimes as a strategy guy, I live in the gap, not the gain. And we've talked about the gap and the gain before. And that's a book by Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan. And we've explained it before, if you're starting here and you want to get here, really successful people, as they get towards their goal, this part's called the gain. And successful people focus on the gain and they celebrate the gain, and it gives them positive fuel to keep getting to the goal. I always think as a strategist, I focus on the gap. How do we get from where we're at to where we want to be? And that's harder. People don't enjoy that as much, but I just think that's part of strategy. And I know I need to live in the gain more, and I need to celebrate the gain. But a lot of times when I'm talking to loan officers, or if I'm talking to executives or peers, I'm constantly, here's what we need to do. Here's what we got. Here's how we can get better. Here's how we got to skate to the puck. And it's not because I don't love loan officers or I don't appreciate them. It's just because I can believe we can do so much, And so I think it's super positive when I'm thinking about the gap, but other people don't. But I want to be really clear, being a loan officer and a real estate agent is as noble of a profession as anybody can do. I just want to encourage everybody that we can do it better. Some of us are great. I'm inspired all the time by what people do. And so, here's the thing I keep saying. Look, we're in this storm. I've talked about it. I have a Thursday series. Check it out tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to my New Normal series edition tomorrow. So every Thursday I talk about the new normal. Where are we today? Where are we headed? What do we have to do to thrive when we get there? That today we're in this storm called our market, right? But tomorrow, we're going to land on the shores of the next market, and there's going to be all sorts of other challenges. And then we got to get in front of those challenges now to survive when we land in the new normal. So I'm going to talk about tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to that talk. But in thinking about what those gaps are, and thinking about what we have to do to get to the new normal, part of what we have to do is we have to break everything. And if you're worried about breaking things in your personal production or in your company, you may not be adequately engineered for the next thing, right? You got to live in abundance and go, I can give up what I have, and it's going to get me more in the future, and that's going to allow you to engineer for success. And that's really what brings brings to me in mind. I've met with a bunch of great loan officers the last few days, just past colleagues and friends, and I love talking shop. And inevitably, when I meet with a top producing loan officer in today's market, something like this happens. They're like, I'm going to give you the essence. I'm used to doing 15, 20 loans a month, and heck, now I'm doing 2 or 3, and I used to have a team of 8 or a team of 6 or a team of 4, and now I have a team of 1 or a team of 0. How in the world am I going to build my production without support, And they ask me my advice. What should I do? Should I just pay for it myself? Should I mandate my company to give it? How many people should I have? Who should do what? And it's really interesting when people ask me this question. And this is where I talk about break everything. They're asking me the question in the context of what they've always done, right? And in the context of what they think they need, not in the context of what is right or wrong. And I'll give you an example. I was talking to a loan officer the other day, and they're like, I currently don't have a dedicated support. I have a shared support. Now they're in a fully embrace fulfillment that does a lot of the work, but they don't have that extra spin on the ball from their personal assistant. They have a shared assistant. I'm like, okay, well, explain to me what's your business like. How many loans did you close last month? 1. How many loans did you close the month before? 1. How many loans did you close the month before that? I don't know, right? But I'm going to close 7 loans this month if I had somebody help me. Kind of the answer. And I said, well, what is it that you think your assistant needs to do that's keeping you from closing loans? And the loan officer responded, well, just every one of my leads is so hard. We spend like 20 hours, trying to get a lead to approval and get it right. I go, oh, that's interesting. And I go, and these lead sources, are they great lead sources? And they go, well, it's turned down builder business, and I have to do it as a dependent account. I'm averaging 25 basis points commission on it, And I go, hold on here. You're getting 25 basis points with a very low conversion rate on a very high maintenance borrower who you're trying to dedicate 20 hours to, right? And then you're saying, so you need assistance. I go, you're solving the wrong problem. Maybe you need a better referral source. Maybe you need a higher conversion rate. Maybe you need to target a lower maintenance client, right? Because and by the way, I'm not saying you can't help high maintenance clients. You can only help them if they're willing to pay for it, right? What you can't do is I got to spend 20 hours on every lead source that I convert 1 in 10, and I have to have the lowest rate, and I have to subsidize it with my commission. Like, that makes no sense. And the whole point is break it. Like what I told this loan officer is you're solving the wrong problem. You're limiting beliefs about what you think you have to do, right? You got to just break it all and go, okay, I'm going to get a better referral source. I'm going to start attracting customers who aren't that high maintenance. I'm going to attract customers who can do more do-it-yourselfer, that the value I add, it isn't doing this hard lifting work. It's giving high-level advice and consulting them. Like, I'm going to change all that. And when I change all that, I'll see what the labor requirement is, right? And instead, we get not lazy, but solve the comfortable, and we solve the wrong issue, right? And that's the thing when I talk about. So this is just I'm foreshadowing as we talk about the new normal. Don't be afraid to break things. Don't be afraid to challenge your limiting beliefs, and really challenge yourself. Am I solving the right problem, right? Or am I just solving what I know? Like, I've always done it this way. I always solve my problems by throwing labor at it. Today, the consumer doesn't want to pay for your extra labors. I had a conversation with another loan officer, and they're like, I'm overstaffed. I don't know what to do. And they're explaining to me their team, and they have like an LP1 and an LP2. I know most of you guys understand what that is. And I'm like, well, tell me what your LP2 does. And they're like, oh, they're just so perfect. They're like just the concierge that makes sure the loan has no problems. And, they're the glue, and they fill all the cracks and everything. And I go, so what you're telling me is your LP2 is really just a redundant position to a processor. and that you either don't trust your processor or you haven't trained your processor to deliver the service, and you think your client is willing to pay extra for the redundancy. That's what you're telling me for this concierge service. I go, once again, the issue isn't how do you pay for the concierge. The issue is, why do you need redundancy? Why can't you train the processor to do that? Like we got to solve the right problems, especially when the client doesn't want to pay for our inefficiencies. So we're going to talk about stuff like that. Super excited. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about expense management versus investments for companies. So it'll be very company specific. I'm really looking forward to that. How do you judge expenses? How do you know what you keep or not? How do you know what to invest in? What's the new normal for what the client's willing to pay for? I'm really looking forward to that. So, here from Dana Point, really looking forward to my breakfast with Bill. I hope you are having a very fruitful day. I hope you have a great and safe 4th of July holiday. I'll be on tomorrow early, talking about my new normal. Thank you for either checking in or for watching this at any point. Keep giving me feedback. Love your feedback. I love your encouragement. Let me know what you like and don't like. And with that, have a great day. I'll see you all soon. Thanks so much. Bye.